Hello, hello! Hello everybody and welcome to the newest episode of the Lovebird Lane vlog. I am your host Julianne and I'm so glad that you can join me today. I have a little bit of knitting today, not too much to show you. One of the things that I did make in the last week, because I played hooky last week and there wasn't a vlog, was something that has been given away, so all I can do is show you photos. I have been doing some knitting on the things that you've already seen. I have been cooking up some new projects to cast on. I'm going to talk about that a little bit as well. And I'm already coughing. Well, I'm not coughing, I'm just clearing my throat. I am feeling much better. You could probably hear that I sound a lot better than I did last week. My cough is mostly gone. It's just an occasional cough that kind of comes up, usually because my throat is still a little bit gluggy, so I might still sound a little bit thick in the throat, but yeah, I am feeling much better today and all the last few days. And thank you so much to everybody who reached out and wished me well, and I really do appreciate it. And also all of you who have reached out to wish well to Granger as well. He is doing quite all right. He still has the cone on his head, unfortunately. We took him to the vet, I think it was the week, not last week, week before? No, last week. I can't remember now. The days are all melding into one at the moment because it's just, my everyday is just so full. Yes, we took him to the vet. He had his stitches for the spot behind his ear out. Unfortunately, part of that had not healed, so he needed to have a bit of like tissue glue in there to stick it together. And his eye also is doing okay. This week's been a bit weird with it. I thought perhaps it was infected, even though it's like 2 weeks since he had surgery. So I don't know why it would be infected now, seeing he's had 2 weeks worth of healing, but I started putting his antibacterial drops back in his eye, so that seems to have fixed the problem. So fingers crossed everything is okay. His stitches are still in his eye because they are dissolvable ones, so yeah, the stitches are still in there. They haven't come out yet, but yeah, he is still wearing his cone, and that is pretty much because he cannot be trusted not to scratch. We tried him because the vet said give him another couple of days with the cone on because he had that tissue glue in there. So we gave him a couple more days. We left it until Sunday. We saw her Thursday. We left it till Sunday, gave it a try. Within 5 minutes or less than of him having the collar off, he was digging his nails into behind his ear, and also using his dew claw to scratch his eye. So yeah, none of which is great. So he can't really be trusted not to scratch, and it's obviously still a bit itchy from the healing, so we don't want him to do any damage. So we've left the cone on. He's not happy about it. We're not happy about it because he's a bigger dog. He tends to just barge through. He just doesn't think about space. I don't think he actually realizes he's as big as he is either. So yeah, he tends to just barge through, and we're kind of sick of him barging through and taking our legs and knees with him. So yeah, we're hoping that he can be trusted soon to have the cone off. Just realized that I had made myself a cup of tea in my Lovebird Lane mug today. So I should probably drink this while I'm having a bit of a chat. Today I have some hibiscus tea, which I am quite partial to. And yeah, my hair needs something done with it. That is, I could probably talk about upcoming projects because they have to do with my hair. So it's kind of doing its own thing today. I don't know what this is. It kind of reminds me of when I was a kid. I used to have this piece of hair in the middle that used to always stick up, and my parents used to call me Rooster Cogburn. So yeah, I've got my rooster comb back today because it's kind of doing its own thing. My hair, I'm kind of feeling like it's too fine for the short style because it tends to just stick out, as you can see. Like it doesn't have the weight to hold itself down. So I'm actually thinking of growing my hair out. So I was supposed to have a hair appointment this morning, but I have put that off for a couple of weeks so that it's got a little bit more time to grow, and my hairdresser can potentially just give it a tidy up so that it can grow out in a neat way. I don't know how long I want to grow it. I keep looking at all these photos of me with super long hair, and I kind of want to grow back super long hair, but we'll see how we go because I have kind of gotten used to having the short hair. But yeah, we'll see how we go. So as for upcoming projects, I'm actually thinking I might knit myself some like turbans and hairbands so that I can, or headbands I probably should say, probably use the correct terminology, just so that I can cover up the mess that is this while my hair is growing out. That is something that I have just had a quick look. I know that there's a designer that designs under the name Poison Girls who does some really cool kind of pin-up style turbans, so I'm probably going to pick one of those. So I might have some turbans or a turban or a turban and a headband for next week to show you, but that is something that is probably upcoming. If you have knit any of those projects or those patterns, I probably should say, please do let me know down in the comments. Let me know how you went and if you have a preference for any of them, because there's quite a few designs. I did see one with eyelets, and I don't love knitting eyelets, but I think eyelets on my head, because sometimes I do have a tendency to get a bit warm, eyelets to ventilate my head might be a good thing to have. So we will see. That is what I am thinking. Because yeah, I don't love this. This is not great. And also because I've got the bleach sections, because if you recall, my hair used to be pink, so it has had bleach on the top, so it actually kind of, even though my hair is clean, it makes it look greasy because it's got the dark with the light. So I kind of want to cover that up a little bit too until that kind of gets cut out, but it probably won't be getting cut out anytime soon if I'm trying to grow my hair. So yeah, I'm in a good place with my appearance self-esteem right at this point in time. I'm also wearing a big fleecy jumper today because it's been bloody cold this morning. So I kind of, none of my knitwear, because I don't really love having stuff up around my neck. I know I could use a shawl, but most of my knitwear just doesn't, it has too big a neckline. So this morning for my walk with the dog, I decided I was going to wear my big fleecy jumper, and I've just left it on. So no knitwear for you to look at today. Okay, so that was my upcoming projects, and we'll see how I go. So I could probably get on with what I have been knitting. And I do have a finished object, but of course that is the one that I said I do not currently have. The one that I played hooky for last week. So I'll have a quick chat about that, and I'll chuck up some photos and you can see what it is that I made. So pretty much I had a request from a family friend who asked if I had any shawls that she could buy off me to give to her mum. So this family friend is very supportive of my craft, which I'm so grateful for. So I probably would have just given her something, but she decided that she wanted to pay for it, so so that's fine. But I ended up not having anything to give her. I did do a cull of a lot of knitwear recently, and I took a box of stuff over to my mother-in-law, but it seems that she has possibly raided all of the shawls that were in that box, so I had nothing to give this family friend. So I decided on a whim, because she was leaving on Tuesday to go to see her mum who she wanted the shawl for, and this was back on a Wednesday probably, and I said to her, well, I'm going to cast something on, we'll see how we go, and if it gets finished, you're welcome to have it. And I ended up knitting a shawl. So the pattern that I used was Tendrilly, which is by D. O'Keefe, and yeah, it has been on my queue for quite a while. I think I originally saw that Vulenvine was knitting one. I think she ended up frogging it, but I did see the pattern first on her channel, and truck going by and yeah, so I pretty much put it on my queue, I think, after I'd seen it on her channel, and yeah, so I thought, well, that looks nice, and it was probably one of the few, another truck, yay why not? It was one of the few that were in my queue for shawls that were with a thicker yarn, because I knew I had that time constraint. I would need to knit something that was of a thicker yarn. So I used a Knit Picks yarn. It was Knit Picks City Tweed DK, and I used the colorway Tahitian Pearl, which is a really nice grey. So I've had a sweater quantity of this yarn in my stash for quite a while, but if you recall, I knit, what was the pattern? I can't remember the name of the pattern, but it was a Swancho, something Swancho by Caitlin Hunter. It was the one with all the colour work in it. I knit that from City Tweed, and as soon as I put it on, I was just so itchy. And then I recalled that City Tweed has alpaca in it, and I cannot wear alpaca, which is crazy because so many people love alpaca. I just can't do it. I've knit many different types of alpaca bases. I've knit Bendigo Woolen Mills. I've actually knit, I think it's called Tailored Strands was the brand, which is a 100% alpaca yarn. I've worked with that. I've worked with obviously the City Tweed, and all of them, like, it prickles, it's prickly, it doesn't make me itch, it just prickles all the time. So alpaca is not for me. And so I've had this sweater quantity of this yarn in stash, and I've considered making Simon a sweater out of it, but he, as I've probably said before, he does have eczema and gets quite irritated on his skin with certain things. So I'm thinking, well, if me, who can wear lots of different fibres, I can wear the mohair, I can wear the cashmere, I can wear merino, BFL, all of that with no problem. If alpaca is a problem for me, it probably isn't the best for Simon. So I've just had this sweater quantity hanging around, and I did have it for D-stash for a while and nobody seemed to want it. So I thought, okay, well, basically the brief that I was given was that she wanted something in red, blue or grey. I didn't have any red or blue, but I had grey, and something that was soft and warm. So of course alpaca is very soft. I will not, you know, dispute that. And it is also warm. So I thought, okay, well, I've got this yarn and I will knit the shawl. So that is the entire backstory. Maybe now I can show you some photos since I've finished talking. Sorry, I keep looking out the window, and it's because there's people around, and I think they're looking at me because I'm all lit up because of my ring light. So yeah, I'm just getting a bit self-conscious that people are staring at me. Just drink your tea and talk, Julianne, you'll be fine. Yeah, so I made the medium size of this pattern, and it actually turned out to be a really good size. The large size would be very large, I think, because I managed to get quite a good size shawl out of that medium size. And I did get a photo sent through this morning of my family friend's mum wearing the shawl, and yeah, she looked really great in it. It looked like it was good size on her, so that was pretty good to see. And yeah, that's probably about all I can really talk about that. The yarn is nice for me to work. It doesn't prickle my hands, but I just can't wear it up close to my neck or anything like that, or a sweater on my arms. So I was fine knitting with it. It's actually quite a nice yarn. I do like tweed yarn. It's just I can't wear it. But yeah, and the pattern was like really, really fun. I really enjoyed knitting it. And even though it was a rush job and I had to spend time knitting on it, I actually didn't mind because I did actually quite like the pattern. So I'm probably going to knit it again for myself, I think. I don't know what I will knit it out of, and it's not something that I will probably do anytime soon, but yeah, I did enjoy it and I will probably knit it again. I use the charts in the pattern because I'm a chart knitter, so I find chart is much easier to, it's quicker to follow rather than trying to read all of the writing and remember where you're up to within the writing. So I like to knit by charts. I've just noticed that new neighbours across the road have got a kitty cat. It's just got up and sat in the windows. It's a ginger cat. They're so cute. Yeah, so I find charts easier to follow, so I recommend everybody to learn to read charts, but that's just me. You might like to just use the written instructions. If you do use the written instructions, let me know down below why you prefer them to the chart. I'd really be interested to know, because yeah, I can't deal with written instructions anymore since I've learned to read a chart. So yeah, I'd love to know why you choose to do the written instructions instead. But that is my FO, and I think I shall get back onto some works in progress, both of which you have already seen, so it's probably going to be super boring. But anyway, let's get on with it. So let's start with the sock, as I usually do. And I do have nearly a whole sock here, and I'm on my last round of ribbing. So the silly thing is, if you recall last week, I said something about my well, not last week, last episode, about toe-up socks having a wibbly wobbly edge on the cuff, and I had a really great tip from Heidi. Thanks, Heidi. She let me know that the Elizabeth Zimmerman sewn bind off is a really good one. I actually haven't looked back at the pattern to see what Helen has written in the pattern for the bind off, but I thought maybe initially I'll try what Helen has written. If I don't like it, I will go and check out Elizabeth Zimmerman's sewn bind off. But thank you, Heidi, for that tip, and hello, Heidi. Thanks for being here. But yeah, so I am up to the ribbing, and it's a twisted rib, and yeah, so I've got my leg, and it's pretty much the same as what I was up to last week, because I had already started the leg, I believe, because I remember talking about the really cool toe-up gusset that I did. So yeah, it's just more of the same up to the leg, doing my ribbing, and yeah, just have to finish that and see how I go with the bind off so I can cast on the second sock, because this is still my first sock. And next week I think we're due for the next pattern, so yeah, I'm a little behind. But again, this is my own yarn. This is the new BFL base that I am trialing, and this is in the colourway Bereft, the one that has come out way more purple than my initial batch. So I'm hoping to have some of this in the shop in the next week, and yeah, I really do like the way that it knits up. It is really nice. Can you see that? Yeah, a lot of black and brown, and the purple should technically be more pink speckles, but the pink dyes are notorious for bleeding. They bleed a lot. So especially this one that I use here. So although you can see that there's kind of these kind of pinky speckles in there, yeah, it's bled a little bit, so it's actually created more of a purple colour throughout the yarn rather than being more of a brown with pink speckles. But that's fine, it's fine, it's purple, who cares? Purple is one of my more favourite colours, so I don't really care, purple is fine. And I know that I have some viewers, especially you, Karen, hi! You love purple too, so there you go. Yeah, nobody's going to complain about a bit of purple, I don't think. I know a lot of you like green, and I don't like green, and I know a lot of you probably want to see more green, but yeah, that's not going to be happening. But that is my, what were they called? Spinifex Socks by Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade. Where is my brain today? It's like I'm having little brain farts between each word, but you know, whatever, we'll keep going with it. And if I do forget to tell patterns and designer names and things, I always put that little bar on the side. So, if I do forget to do it, just skip back and have a look at the little sidebar, and you'll know what it is that I am talking about. So I will get on to my next work in progress. And I know a lot of you who follow me over on Instagram, which is at Lovebird Lane, were very devastated to see that I had to rip out my cardigan. But to be honest, I wasn't really worried, because I knew my pockets were too low. I realised, I think I said in the last episode, that I should really measure how far I'd got down from the armhole so I could see whether I was ready for pockets yet or not, and I just didn't do it, and I kept knitting, and it wasn't until I went, oh, hang on, I was supposed to be measuring, that I measured, I was about right. I think I was a couple of centimetres off at that measure, and so I thought, I'm not going to rip back, I'll just put the pockets in. And then I got down to the point where I was starting the ribbing, and I looked at it and I went, the pocket's holes. When I looked at the pattern photos, I realised that my pocket holes looked like they were so much closer to the bottom of the cardigan than what is in Petite Knit's photos of their version of the pattern. So I laid it down on the ground this time because last time I have a tendency to measure things laid across my lap on the couch. So of course that's super accurate, you know. So I laid it down on the ground, a flat surface, measured it again, and it ended up being about 2 inches, so about 5 centimetres lower, the pocket openings, 5 centimetres lower than it should have been. And I knew it was low, and I knew I should have fixed it way earlier, but I didn't, and I kept knitting, and it'll be fine, until I got to the point and I went, no, it's not going to be fine, I'm not going to be happy with this, the pockets are going to be too low, and so I decided that I was going to rip it out. And I'll throw in a photo here in case you don't follow me on Instagram, and you can see the pile of yarn that I had. I finished knitting all of that back up today because I did not want to have to bring that pile of unknit yarn and unwound yarn over here to show you guys, because I just knew that it would end up badly, and I didn't want to have tangles everywhere. So I did finish knitting all of that up today, so I just have my working amount of yarn here. So I have changed obviously the position of the pockets. They were, you know, another 2 inches. They were sort of down here in my original knitting of this pattern. So I have I have moved them. I did move them, and I don't regret it, and I'm happy that I did, because I think this cardigan is going to get a lot of wear. So I kind of think that if it was in the wrong spot every time I wore this, it would just bother the crap out of me. So I did move them, and I'm happy that I moved them. And why is that like that? Oh no, I've just found a spot where I'm going to have to rip back. See this little hole here? It's not technically a hole. I don't know if it is showing. It is just the mohair. I'm going to have to rip that back and put the wool in there. Bugger. Oh well. I should probably flag that actually now that I've found it. Let's pull out one of my progress keepers and we'll just flag that. Okay, all flagged. So I have gotten to the point where my calculations, if you remember, I spoke about a spreadsheet that I created using my gauge to work out my stripes. It seems in the 2 years since I cast this on, my gauge has changed a little bit. So the rows that I had calculated would be the correct length for my cardigan is actually not quite long enough. So I need to add another 6 centimetres from this point to get to the length of the cardigan that it should be. So yeah, so I'm just going to continue knitting. I've got plenty of yarn. I'm not worried about that. So yeah, it's pretty much just still working back and forth in stockinette until I get to the 6 centimetres from my little owl, and then I can start my ribbing, and then I can move on to sleeves. And that's the fun part, because I've actually discovered that I don't hate sleeves, which is interesting because most people do hate the sleeve section of their knitting. However, I don't know, I think it's just because it's really quick. Since I've learned to do consistent good magic loop, I think that's the game changer for me. Is I hated magic loop for the longest time because I could never get those joins between needles looking good. I always either had it super tight or I had it far too loose and it was laddering. And I've since been encouraged, probably 2 or 3 years ago now, by Jess of the Sweater Collective, who you guys know I talk about all the time because she's my friend, and we would go to knit night and she would always be using magic loop, and she kind of inspired me to try again. So I since started using magic loop a lot more, and I've gotten much better at it, and I now do this technique where every round or every end of each needle I'll actually take a stitch from the front needle and add it to the back. So technically where the joins between the needles on the magic loop is actually spiraling around my work. So you only really have like you don't get that consistent line where I hope this is making sense. I hope this is probably only making sense to people who actually know how to use Magic Loop. So yeah, I basically spiral around where my joins between my two needles are when I do Magic Loop now. So I hope that makes sense, and I feel like it gives a much better finish, because again, like I said, you don't get that line, that sort of like stripe, I suppose. It's not technically a stripe, but it sometimes sticks out almost like you've done an iron press and put a crease in. So it avoids that as well. So I don't actually like doing sleeves, so I'm looking forward to it, and I just have to make sure that I sort of match my stripes on my sleeve. So because I want you know, the sleeves to kind of like turn pink and then turn grey in the right spot. I believe there's probably only going to be a couple of rows, like one row of this light grey, I think. 1 or 2 rounds of light grey before I switch to the pink. I probably could not even bother doing the light grey, to be honest. Just start knitting the pink from this point. Yeah, that is my cardigan. I love it, and it's still working as a wonderful lap blanket for me while I am knitting on it. And yeah, I'm hoping that this is going to be done pretty soon because like I said, it's getting pretty cold at the moment. This week is not that cold. It's pretty regular this week, but it's getting quite cool overnight. I think the tops this week is about 17, 18 degrees Celsius. So yeah, I think the nights are getting pretty cold, but the days actually end up not too bad. So that is all I have been working on. I did a little bit more weaving, but not really much to write home about. But other than that, there's not much really been happening. Our healths are better. Our house settlement is next Monday, so it's Thursday. So that's kind of scary and exciting. Simon and I have been taking little trips out to sort of homemaking places, so that we can. Taxi just pulled up, honking horn. That's great, thank you. Yeah, so we've been going to like just homemaker centres and looking at certain things, and we haven't actually bought anything for the house yet. We don't want to do that yet. Plus we're relying on some of the rental income that we get in the meantime before the lease is up of the tenants, to help us pay for things like paint and extra little bits of furniture and things that we need. So we're not buying anything yet, we're just looking and seeing what we like. So that's been fun. It's been really fun to, look and dream and plan. And as I've said before, it's something that we didn't think that we would ever be able to achieve. And the fact that we are just so grateful and excited. And yeah, it's something that's getting harder and harder for people to be able to achieve, is to own their own home. And we are aware of how privileged we are, and we are so grateful that we are being able to make this a reality for ourselves. So yeah, we are not taking it for granted in any way, shape or form. So yeah, it's something that we're very excited about. Yeah, I guess by the time I speak to you guys again, I will be officially a homeowner. And that's scary and exciting. And yeah, thank you so much to everybody for your support and your encouragement along the way. So many people have reached out and have been excited for us and supportive of us, and yeah, we really do appreciate it. And I'm grateful every day for the little community that has sprung up around me, and I do appreciate all you guys. So I guess I should probably leave it there. There's some cool breeze coming in here. Hopefully it hasn't affected the audio too much, because I forgot the window was open, and the cool air is actually making my throat tickle. So I think I might finish up my tea and start editing this and get on with the rest of the day. So thank you so much for watching. As I said, I do appreciate all of you so much. And yeah, again, thank you for watching. Stay safe. Happy knitting, happy crafting, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.